Hey there, this is another video in my series, Why So Many Guitars, Acoustic Edition. And I can't tell you how many times somebody's come up to me when I've had more than one guitar on stage with me or in the studio. Sometimes in the studio I could have 10 guitars out there, on stage 2 or 3, 4 or 5 sometimes. And somebody will come up and invariably say, why so many guitars? You can only play one at a time. And someday I've got to work out some routine where I play like 5 guitars at once. I'm not sure how, like some kind of spinning plates game or something. But this one is a little bit easier to justify because it's technically not a 6-string acoustic. This is a 12-string acoustic. So it's a little bit more obvious why you would pick up something completely different. A 12-string is very different than a 6-string. And maybe not so obvious why you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 acoustic guitars. And a lot of guys have a lot more than that. So as you get to know acoustics and you get to recognize the sound of them and things like that, you get more attuned to the idiosyncrasies of each individual instrument. You realize, oh man, I like this kind, I like this one, I like this one. You want to have them, different guitars that reach across the spectrum. In the case of a 12-string, really only need to have one. I only need to have one. I know guys that have more than one, but my second guitar I ever got was a 12-string. I think I got it when I was 11 years old. I think I asked for it for my birthday, and it was a K12 string, and it was awful. 12 strings are hard to play anyway, but this one was a piece of garbage, and the neck was bent, and the action was really high. And I'd only been playing 2 years at the time, and I was really into, when I was 11, I was really into John Denver, and John Denver played 12 strings, so I wanted a 12 string. And that guitar almost made me quit playing guitar. It was that bad. It was really that difficult to use. It's still, when you hit an open chord on it, it sounded really cool. It sounded like a totally different guitar than the guitar I had, which actually, my first guitar was like a nylon, a 3/4 size nylon string guitar. But when I got this guitar, this 12 string, it was much later. And it was after I got my first guitar, acoustic guitar. This one I got right after I got the Martin, and I got this through my connections at Taylor, and I got to go down to the Taylor factory, and this one was a return, and I got to pick it out off the wall. I knew I wanted a 12-string when I went down there, and so my mission was just to play a bunch of 12 strings, and my second mission was to take the tour of the factory, which I highly recommend. I think they still do it every day at noon. Check their website, but if you take it, it's really fascinating to get a full tour of the factory. They show you their wood stockpile. They show you how they make guitars and all the processes that they use, and then as well as some really interesting instruments that they have kind of in their little museum there. It's been quite a while since I took the tour, so it's probably very different, but very much worth your time. And if you're in the San Diego area, it's worth it. So this guitar, I got this one, and immediately as soon as I picked it up, the great thing about Taylor guitars in particular is they kind of start with a neck. They kind of build the guitar around the neck, and it plays great to start with, and then they go from there. And this guitar, this is a 655. It's got a pickup in it, so it's a 655E, I guess. It's maple back and sides. Look at that. I don't know if you can see the flame on that maple, but it's just gorgeous. Really pretty. Sides are the same. Very bright instrument. When you mic it, you can always kind of go more towards the bout of the guitar so that you can get a darker sound. Right now I have it in drop D tuning just because it just sounds cool. I think I was just playing a Bon Jovi tune, I'm not sure, but basically you just have to, it's just cool for kind of Western, Wild West kind of soundtracky kind of things. And I'm using Elixir lights on here, and so I've got a bunch of sets of those because I often will split those up. One set goes to a regular guitar and one goes to my high-strung guitar. So that's why I like using the Elixir 12 strings. The other reason to use Elixir, and this is not, I endorse Elixir, so know that. But 12 strings is not a guitar you pull out very often. So even if you don't like Elixir strings or you don't use Elixir strings on most of your guitars, On a guitar that's going to sit in the closet for months at a time between uses, I highly recommend having at least some kind of coated string so that when you grab it out, you know, oftentimes I'm just grabbing guitars and go into a session, and when I open up the case, I'm hoping that the strings are usable, because I'm just not going to be replacing strings the night before on every guitar. I might pick my favorite guitar that I know I'm going to use that day and put new strings on it. Maybe a couple guitars, but more than that, not so much. So anyway, that's this is my acoustic guitar. Why So Many Guitars Acoustic Edition, Taylor 655E, I guess E. I don't know, 655 anyway, and it's.